every renewal begins with a reassessment of our practices, our values, and our beliefs. That's what repentance is. It's real simple. Let me break it down for you. So in your family, what are your practices as a family that keep your family aligned with Christ and the model of family? What are the values and what are the beliefs? If we do a reassessment of those as a family, we might realize that, long time we used to do things that we stopped doing now. There's a wonderful story of a very, elderly couple, married 60-something years, driving down the road. And the wife asked the husband, "Darling, you remember when we was courting, how we used to be sitting so close, how, we used to hold hands, how we used to sit next to each other and cuddle up while we were driving? What do you think happened?" Boy, my boy ain't say a word for about 15 miles down the road. He ain't opening his mouth, he ain't saying nothing. After about 10, 15 miles down the road, all he said is, "I thought a lot about your question, and I really don't know, but I didn't move." I didn't move. I still sitting down behind the wheel, so don't ask me what happened. Well,
the answers will bring quarrel, The answers, I remember my uncle saying, the answers
bring you around.
Just hush your mouth.
Bring you around.
He was going good all the time.
But the point is, we have moved from God.
Yeah.
God has never moved. God is still where God has always been, a loving Father, desiring of our incredible love and wanting us to be loved by Him, because only when we experience the incredible extreme love of this Father are we ever going to live a life that's going to be worthy of who we've been called to be. And it's not that God desires our love. It's God desires to love us, because it is through His loving us and our receiving that love, we become who we are called to be in our vocation. And God hasn't moved. God is still pouring out His love to us through Jesus Christ, His Son. Still. But guess who moved? It's we who move. It's we who shut it down. It's we who moved away. It's we who dumbed it down because we got busy and distracted with a million different things. And so that's what repentance is. Recognizing that the practices may not be the ones that are life-giving anymore. We used to have practices as a family that used to work. Families used to stop and say grace before meals. Well, to start with, families used to eat meals together. Stop and say grace before meals. Families used to have a family rosary together. Families used to bless the children before they went out of the house in the day. Families used to stop and do things together, play together, pray together. And a lot of the family rituals, I think, have gone through the window. And with the practices, so have gone the values. Because when the practices go, the values go with it. And whereas the value of cherishing each other, the value of putting God first, the value of living for each other and being of service to each other, those were, put together and held together by the practices we had. Those go. And when the values go, what are we left with? The beliefs go. The belief in God starts to go. The belief in love starts to go. And everybody for everybody. And me for me. And it's a war of all against all, to quote Hobbes. And that's what's been happening. And that's why I'm starting with repentance. Because let's reassess the practices. Let's reassess the values. Let's reassess the beliefs. And let's align ourselves back to the practices, the values, and the beliefs that will align us to a loving relationship with God.